Hi guys, welcome back to our Battle Royale tutorial series. In this episode we will cover getting our timer into our lobby, so a countdown timer to when the game is going to start, and then when the timer reaches 0 we will then boot into our gameplay map. So the first thing we're going to do here is let's set up a blueprint actor actually inside our lobby. So let's head over to our lobby map. Okay, now if we head up to our blueprints and we go to lobby, we can then right click and we want to add a blueprint class, and let's just add an actor, and we will call this countdown timer. Okay. Now, inside this actor, we want to add a component, and this component will be a text render. Okay, I'll just call this, yeah, we'll just keep it that way. So text render. Okay, and now if we click on our countdown timer at the top here, okay, and we type in tag, we can then add a tag. So we're just going to add the tag timer text. Okay, so that's all we have to do for this part. In fact, what we'll do is if we click on the text render and just clear the tag and just clear the text, because we want it to be blank on startup, so that if one player loads in, he doesn't actually see the timer. The timer will start when a minimum amount of players are in the lobby. So let's compile and save this and close it down. The next thing we're going to do is set up our lobby timer, the UI. So we're going to do it two ways. We're going to drag this in to our lobby. We'll put it in front of our lobby characters so they can actually see it. And I'll just scale this up. Okay. Now I can't actually see it just now because I've deleted the text, but we'll see it in game once we set up the functionality. The other way we're going to do it is I'm going to set up a UI widget just with a small timer in the top corner, and this will give you the option whether or not you want the timer in 3D space or whether you want the timer in UI, part of your HUD. So I'm going to go to UI, I'm going to go to lobby, I'm going to right click and say a new widget, blueprint. I would call this lobby timer. Okay. Now inside lobby timer, I'm going to want a horizontal box. And just drag that into the canvas. And inside the horizontal box, I want some text. Okay. In this text, I'm just going to set the default to 0 for minutes and 00 for seconds. Well, we'll set this to 30 for seconds just now, just for testing purposes. I'm going to go to the horizontal box and anchor it to the top right. Remove the position. And then if we zoom in and we go to the X alignment, just hit 1, it now aligns it in. And if we grab the position here and just drop that down by 5, it takes it away from the top a little. And if we click on our text and just center it, I think this will do just for the debugging purposes. So let's compile and save, and we'll just dock this up the top. Now we need to have our lobby timer actually appear inside our map, so let's head up to our game instance, open up all levels, my game instance, And inside the game instance, we're just going to do the exact same as we have done for the player count here. So let's just copy all this. And we don't need the event. We don't need this reference, and we don't need this. So let's just copy all this down. And we will right click and say custom event. This custom event, we'll call it show countdown timer. Okay, just plug that into the execute. And now if we click here, we want our lobby timer widget, and then we want to create a reference from it, so promote to variable, and this variable will be our lobby timer ref, and we'll just pop that into our widgets category and connect this up, so make sure it spawns into the viewport, and then drag the lobby timer reference into the is valid, so that this checks for the widget. It creates the widget if it's not valid, and then adds it to the viewport, and if it is valid, it'll add it to the viewport anyway. So let's just comment this out. We'll comment it out saying show countdown timer. Okay, so compile and save this, and now we need to go on to our level blueprint. So just click blueprints at the top here, open up our level blueprint, make sure you're inside the lobby map while you do it, and you see we have this functionality for the player counter that we had in the last episode. Let's just drag off that, and we'll say show countdown timer, and this is just calling the event from our game instance, and make sure you plug up the target, plug it into the as game instance. Okay, and this will now show the timer inside our game. So just compile and save this, and if we test it, you can see we have a timer. We have the actual widget spawning on the top right. Okay, so I'm just going to drop this down to 1 for testing purposes just now. Okay, we'll make sure that's saved. Okay, so we don't need this blueprint anymore, and we don't need the game instance anymore. So from here we just need to start setting things up in our game state. Now if you've seen the last episode, you would have noticed that we took the player array from our game state because the game state itself is replicated. Everything in the game state is replicated, and what that means is it will be displayed on the client and the server. So that is very handy, and that is what we want. Now if we open up our game state, we want to now start adding some functionality in here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our first custom event. So the custom event will be start timer. Okay, and this start timer is going to set timer by function name. So we need two things here. We need a function name and we need a time, and we also need to set this loop. So we need to get our function name and our time after we set the loop, and our function name, we'll just create a quick function here so we can put it in. We'll just call this get time, and we'll go back to our event graph, and you have to type it in exactly as it says, so get time. Okay, and now our time here, let's actually create a new variable for this. So we'll just call it time, and this will be a float. So just drag that into there. Okay, and we want to set the default value, so if you compile and save, you set the default value to 1. And what this means is it's going to check the time every second. Okay, and we want that to happen in our event begin play, so let's just drag off here and say start time, or start timer. And this is just going to call this event. Okay, So let me just read my notes. Yeah, the next thing we have to do is start setting up the function. So let's compile and save this, and let's head into our getTime function. Now, inside our getTime function, the first thing we want to do is check, do we have enough players in our lobby? So let's create a branch, and if we right click, we can get our player array, and this will find the players that have joined the lobby, and from the array we want to get the length. So this is just calculating how many people are in this array, and we want to check, is this length greater than or equal to a specific number. Now, for testing purposes, we're just going to set this to 2. But before we build out our game, we'll probably set this to something like maybe 50. So that there's enough people on the server, if we have a 100-player server, that we're going to actually give people a challenge and give people a chance to actually play the game. So let's just drag this into here, and let's just clean this up a little bit. Drag this out, and we'll just comment this bit out. Check if the min players have been reached. Okay. So if the minimum amount of players have been reached, then we want to start creating our calculations. And for this we want 2 variables. So the first variable is going to be seconds, and we want to set this to an integer, and we also want this variable to be replicated. Okay, now we also want another variable, which will be integer, and this one will be mins, and again set it to replicated. Now everything inside this blueprint will be replicated anyway. This is just to make sure it is going to be replicated properly. So let's compile and save that, and these are our default values now, so let's just set up our default values. I'm just going to set this to 30 seconds, just so it's quick and we can test the server travel. This can obviously be adjusted at a later time before you build your game, so you can set up your minutes or you can set up your seconds. So from here we want to drag out from true, and what we want, in fact what we'll do is if we drag in more seconds and hold control, you can get the seconds, and we want to decrement the integer, which basically means we want to minus 1, we want to take 1 away from the seconds. So whatever the seconds value is, we'll take 1 away if this is true, and this will allow us to drop the seconds by 1. Now after we do this, we want to set our seconds, so just drag off, holding Alt, you can set our seconds to here. Okay, now the only downside of using these decrements is nothing ever lines up and it looks really messy, but it's the easiest way to do things. So after this we want to create a branch, and we'll just drag this in, and we want to get our seconds again. We want to check, is the seconds less than 0? So if our seconds drops to 0, we want to decrease our minutes by 1. Okay, so let's get our minutes, and again add in the decrement, and this will drop our minutes by 1. So when our seconds hit 0, it will drop our minutes by 1. We want to just set our minutes now, so drag it in, holding Alt, set. Nothing ever lines up with these. Okay, so now that we have that, when our minutes drops, we then want to set our seconds. Sorry, that's get our seconds. Let's set the seconds to 59. Okay? Because our seconds would eventually drop. Our seconds would drop to 0 and then go -1, -2, -3 because it's constantly losing 1. Whereas if we drop a minute, we then set our seconds back to 59 and then it begins the loop all over again. Now, from here we want to set our text on our actor. So what we'll do is we'll create another function and we'll just call this set text. Okay, and we'll come back to that in a second. So all we want to do is, if this is true and it drops the minute, then we want to set our text. So we'll drag in our text function, and what we need from this text function is an input of our minutes and seconds. So if we head over to our text function, we click on the node, and we just want to put in 2 inputs. The top one will be minutes, and set this to an integer. And the next one will be seconds. Okay, so let's compile and save this just now. And we can start inputting the details here. So let's just drag in our minutes, and then our seconds. Okay. Now, if this comes back false, so if our seconds hasn't dropped below 0, then again we want to set this text. So let's just drag in the set text, and we'll place it here, and drag our false into the set text. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Okay. And from our set text, again, we want our minutes and seconds. Okay. Now from both of these, we then want to say what happens when they both drop down to, say, 0. So let's just create a branch. Okay. And from this branch we want to check is our minutes and our seconds equal to 0. Okay, let's just duplicate this down. So if both are equal to 0, I want to say and. This will get both booleans. If they're both equal to 0, we drag that into the condition. Then we want to do our server travel. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Let's compile and save this for now. And for now we'll set up our set text. Okay. So inside our set text, we want to drag this out and say get all actors with tag. Now you remember the tag we set earlier inside our actor? Let's just find our actor. So lobby, countdown timer, and if we type in tag, here's our timer text tag. So we'll copy that and just place it into this tag. And this will get every actor with that tag. And this will output an array. So from the array, we just want a for each loop. So for every actor with that tag, we now want to do something. So from here we want to drag out from the array element, we want to get component. So it's going to be get component class, get component by class. Okay, and the class we want to get is the text renderer. So the text render component, and what this is doing is this is finding this actor by this tag, and then it's looking down the components, and because we created this text render component, it's now getting that. So from there, we want to just set the text of it. So set text, and here it is here. Okay. Okay. So this is basically just getting the text from here. So it's just setting this text here. Okay? Just so you can understand it all. And from here we want this value, and this value is a text value, but we need to input two values, our minutes and our seconds. So to do that, if we drag off text and we just say format text, we can now do two sets of curly brackets, and inside we can put our two dots, and the first one we'll call mins, the second one we'll call seconds, and this drops down 2 nodes for us, and from here we can drag in our mins and our seconds, so the inputs that we set earlier. Okay, compile and save, and that's everything we have to do for this. So that now is set up to set our actor's text, and when the countdown timer starts counting down, it gathers these inputs and puts them into it. Okay, so let's compile and save this, and let's head down to the fail here. So if the player array comes back to less than, or if it comes back to less than 2, basically, we want to do something. So from here we want to set our time. So set time. And this is going to set the time. So if we get the time and we just say minus, so it's a float minus float. And if we set this to 2, what this does is it pauses the timer. And we can see that if we go back to our event graph here and we hover over time, you can see how long to wait before executing the delegate in seconds. Setting a timer to less than or equal to 0 seconds will clear it as if it was set. So this allows us to clear the timer and pause the time every time someone leaves. Well, every time if someone leaves and it's below 2 players, that is. So after this, we just want to reset these values, the seconds and the mins. So let's just drag in our mins, holding Alt, let's set it, and drag in our seconds and set that as well. Now our seconds, we're just going to give it to the default value of 30 again, and our min 0. But obviously when you build out for game, you're going to want to set these to whatever your default values are set to. Okay? Because it's just going to reset the default values for you. And this allows us to, let's just comment this out. This will pause and reset the timer. Okay, and we may as well comment this top bit out as well. So let's just grab all of this area. Sorry. And these, let's just pull them up a little bit. Comment this out, and this will be drop a second when timer is called and set text on actor. Okay, so this will now allow us to kind of work our way around our blueprint without getting lost. So let's just grab these, we'll move them over here just now, out of the way, and compile and save. Now if we head over to our lobby timer, inside our UI, so the lobby timer widget, and for the text, let's just create a binding, and this will create a new function. So I'm just going to call this, I don't know, get timer text. Okay, now this is very similar to setting the text on the actor. So what we're going to do here is let's get our game state. So get game state, and from the game state you want to cast to my game state. Okay, and from here we want to drag from as my game state, and we want to just get our mins and drag another one out, get our settings. Okay, and then again we want to drag out of this text and just say format text, and then again we want to do our curly brackets with the dots inside and say mins and seconds. Okay, and that gives us our mins and seconds. And now we can just connect our mins to our mins, seconds to our seconds, and compile and save. Now if we play this now, I'm not sure if it will work in editor. Yeah, so the first player, you can see the text just freezes, doesn't allow you to count down. Okay, I wonder if it will work inside the editor with two players. I'm not sure if this will gather the information from the player arrays because we aren't actually creating the session, but yeah, it does work. So our timer is now counting down, and it's on both, as you can see, both here, and it's doing it at the same time. And I'm not sure where our text is from here. Oh, it's there. So as you can see, it's back to front, but no, it's not in fact. That's really weird. Yeah, it's back to front and the shadow's casting on it, so it's went black. And as you can see, it sets it back to 59 after it counts down. So let's just close out that just now. I'm actually going to grab this and rotate it 180. Okay, just so that when we press play, it's round the right way. Yeah, as you can see. And it counts down the same time as the UI at the top right hand corner. So you could have as many of those actors in your scene as you want, as long as they have the tag that we set, they'll all change the same way. And you can add materials to them, you can place them in the sky, you can place them anywhere you want. Okay. So the final thing we need to do now is, excuse me, we need to set up our travel, our server travel. And what we'll do is we'll set that up inside our game mode. So if we go to our lobby game mode and we open up the blueprint and get rid of the event tick, we just want to create a custom event. And this custom event we're just going to call start travel. Okay, and from the start travel we just want to execute console command, and the console command we're going to execute is server travel space gameplay map. Now this gameplay map has to be spelled the exact same way as your gameplay level. So if you have a look at the maps, you can see gameplay map right here, and it's spelled the exact same way. You have to make sure it's spelled the same. Okay, let's compile and save this. And now we have to set it up inside our function. So if we head back to our game state, and down here where we set up our branch to check and see if both the minutes and the seconds are 0, we just want to drag off true, and we want to cast to lobby GM, lobby game mode, and make sure your object is get game mode so it knows what it's looking for. And from as game mode, we want to just start travel. And that will start our travel function as soon as the counter hits 0. So let's just comment this out. If counter hits 0, 0, 0, then travel. Okay, so compile and save. And that is basically it. There's nothing more to it. We can't actually test the server travel inside the editor. What we have to do is boot from the source. So go to your Epic Games launcher, right click, and show folder source, show in folder. And if you just right click and launch the game, if you launch 2 games, you can test out that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and launch 2 games just to show you what happens when we do this. Okay, so we're back in just a second. Okay, so I have two games open. If I press play, you'll see it boot in, and you will notice when one person is in, the timer won't start, it will just stay there. Okay, and now if we grab our second one, let's now let the second player join the lobby, and you can see the timer now starts, and this timer here is also going at the same time. Now if I grab that second player and make him leave the lobby, the first timer stops and resets. Okay, this one hasn't reset. I'm guessing it's just because it needs to update. I'm hoping it's just because it needs to update. Let's actually just launch another game. I'll pause the video here. So yeah, our second player comes in and it's reset. Let's just make sure the first one reset too. Yeah, it did. So when the second player is in, it resets. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for joining us again, and I'll see you in the next one.